Warning: the program you are about to watch is intended for those with an open mind. We speak freely and openly about topics that affect the well-being of all people. Our intention is not to offend, disrespect, or harm anyone, nor are our views hateful in any way. With that being said, if you are overly sensitive, lack independent thought, or follow the masses blindly, this show probably isn't for you. Enjoy! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stupid Steve and Ian Dybel, and we're here with episode 2 of Penny for Your Thoughts, and today we are getting into the Mandela effect. Are you ready to get into the Mandela effect?
I am ready.
Well, I mean, it's a deep rabbit hole. It's got a lot of different layers to it, so we're going to try to peel back those layers the best we can. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's when I was researching this, just a lot of it was blowing my mind. I was like, wow, I've heard little bits and pieces along the way, but when you actually, like I keep saying, when you delve into one subject and you really get into it,
Mm-hmm.
it's so fascinating. So hopefully tonight, the listeners and watchers will feel the same way.
Yeah, and then it just continues to go and go and go. It never, you can never really find a definitive end, but we're going to try to not stray too far away from the Mandela effect itself as we try to talk about things that we believe tie into the Mandela effect and what this is all about. And I think ultimately in the end, we'll give our penny for our thoughts and we'll figure out whether or not we actually believe in this conspiracy or not. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's dive into it. Here is Penny for Your Thoughts, Episode 2, Mandela Effect.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
All right, Ian, so we are back with episode 2, and how has everything been? We've been off for about 2 weeks, so how was your festivities, your Christmas, your
Yeah.
holidays?
Just quiet. I worked. We had 2 weeks off, but the my work gave us the option to come in for some overtime on those days. So I worked 3 or 4 of them, and just it was just quiet, with the whole lockdown stuff. I think
Yeah.
most people I talk to are in the same. We cooked a nice meal on Christmas Day. We played some board games, done a jigsaw puzzle, a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. Oh, that was stressful, but we got through it. And same with New Year. Just watched the firework display and had a few drinks in the house. What about yourself?
It was okay. It was good. It was a little bit different. It's always different every year. I'm at the point in my life with my Christmas stuff that I'm kind of my family that I grew up with. People have gone and passed away, and now we're trying to see that transition into I am creating the next generation. My kids will come visit me, and my oldest son for the first time actually came and visited me and brought me gifts and things like that. He's getting older, and soon they'll be creating their own family. So I'm kind of in that transition period. It's a weird, strange period, but I was happy to get to the holidays, and I'm just happy to get through this year. It's been a rough year with the
Yeah.
COVID-19 and everything else going on, and it was nice. It was nice to bring in the new year and try to put a fresh coat of paint on life, I
Mhm.
guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have our videos out. If you guys want to go back to our YouTube page and to our Facebook page and things like that, check out our other stuff. We had the Prelude and we had the Rockefeller, or not the Rockefeller. I'm sorry. We had the Rothschild video, which I think was pretty good, and people enjoyed it. And
Yep.
we had a comment on there. We had a couple comments on there, and I don't know if you want to address
Yeah.
anybody or go
Um,
ahead.
so, so we got a comment from Ray. That's all it is, just Ray. And unfortunately, we've already been. I think YouTube are obviously looking at our stuff already, or possibly just Ray. So your comment has been deleted, but I've got it screenshotted here. Thank you very much. It was a very deep, in-depth comment, and I loved it. And it's totally what I'm into personally. And I'm trying to get Steve on board with the whole numerology and all that. So thanks for commenting, Ray. And if you're watching, stay tuned for more episodes and possibly follow us on our social media so that your comments don't get wiped. But thanks anyway.
we're already being watched, Ian. We've only done one episode. We've done
Uh,
the Rothschilds, and they're already
yeah.
deleting our stuff.
Yeah.
I swear, I think my other show is shadow banned. I really do believe that. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a topic for another day, I guess. But here we go. I mean, we have this thing kind of rolling now, and hopefully we can get some momentum with this show and continue to move. And so today's show, Mandela Effect. I mean, we got to get into it. It's so going to be I think this is going to be a tough show to kind of get through and kind of dissect everything and try to
Yeah.
get it. But it's a good challenge. I mean, it's a very
Yeah.
good challenge to try to figure this one out. So, well, you want to set it up for us if you can?
Yeah. So the official definition of the Mandela effect is the Mandela effect refers to a situation in which a large mass of people believes that an event occurred when it did not. Looking at the origin of the Mandela effect, some famous examples, as well as some potential explanations for this strange confluence of perceptions, can help to shed light on this unique phenomenon.
Right. And I do believe, and I think there's a lot to. I just think there's a lot of false memory here, but maybe there is some meat to these bones or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't know. There's too many people that believe in this Mandela effect or don't even know, like they believe certain things are a certain way and maybe they are false memories, but it starts to get weird when you start to see so many people have these same exact false memories. Like something
Yeah,
doesn't add up here, and that's why we have to get into and kind of dive into this. For me, the moment that I was like, wait a minute, something's not right here. It's not, and I discovered the Mandela effect was when I discovered that Shazam was not a movie. And I always ask people the same thing. So Shazam was a 90s movie where Sinbad portrayed a genie. And these two kids rubbed the bottle, you know, and Sinbad had his character going and everything. He was this genie with an attitude. He was getting frustrated with the kids and aggravated, and he was having a bad time throughout the movie. And I can remember the movie very well. And I always ask people, because once I discovered it, it blew my mind. I was completely blown away. And I ask people all the time, I say, do you remember Shazam? And they're like, yeah, I remember Shazam, definitely. Yeah, the movie where Sinbad was the genie. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. I never give away the answer until I get them to say, yeah, I remember Sinbad was the genie, and it was one of my favorite movies. And then
mhm.
I tell them that movie never existed. Then they start looking, oh, you're crazy. And they start laughing. I'm like, no. Go on the internet and look for this movie, try to find it. It doesn't exist. And people get blown away by that sometimes. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's so funny that, you know, I like getting them like that, and then people start to
mhm.
think, and then you start to notice more and more stuff. So that was the moment for me when I
Yeah,
discovered, you know, something's not right here
yeah.
because I
Did,
know Shazam existed.
yeah. Did you have that moment by yourself, or did you know about the
No,
Mandela effect
I know
before?
I didn't know anything about the Mandela effect. I didn't know it existed, and that's when I started researching the movie Shazam. And then when you research the movie Shazam, you'll immediately find Mandela
Oh,
effect.
okay. Yeah, because it's
Then you
one of the
start to
main
notice
ones.
all these other things, and you're like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. I
Now,
haven't had any moments like that until I heard of the Mandela effect. It's not something that I've been affected by in my own, like before this. It was just when I got into conspiracy theories and I heard of this phenomenon, and then I've started to realize that some of these, I did have these feelings and thoughts. So yeah.
yeah, I mean, for me, I remember I was building electrical panels at the time, and I was sitting at my desk, and I was doing some office clerical work and things like that, and that's when I noticed it. My boss, he was into, you know, higher thinking and things like that, and he was like, "Man, that's interesting." And then we started to dive into the different paths you take and how, I mean, and then it becomes a deep conversation, which is why I say this might be difficult for us to navigate through this because it's a really deep conversation. We start talking about, you know, path A and path B, and you start talking about going off and parallel universes and deja vu and how times converge and how there's alternate versions of you and things like that. It gets really deep and it gets really confusing, and then you start to think, man, I'm a nutcase for even talking about this stuff.
Yeah. So the origin, where this started, the term Mandela effect began when it was first coined in 2009 by Fiona Broome, when she published a website detailing her observance of the phenomenon. Broom was at a conference talking with other people about how she remembered the tragedy of former South African President Nelson Mandela, who died in her mind in South Africa in a South African prison in the 1980s. However, Nelson Mandela did not die in the 1980s in a prison. He passed away in 2013. As Broom began to talk to other people about her memories, she learned that she was not alone. Others remembered seeing the news coverage of his death, as well as a speech by his widow. Broom was shocked that such a large mass of people could remember the same identical event in such detail when it never happened. Encouraged by her book publisher, she began a website to discuss what she called the Mandela effect and other incidents like it. Yeah, well, so obviously the Mandela effect is named after the main one, which is Nelson Mandela's death. That's the one that surrounds it. That's the one that kind of typifies this whole phenomenon. But we'll go into obviously other examples. There are tons of examples, and we'll go through quite a lot of them tonight for you. But obviously, being I'm 32, and if you'd asked me, is he dead or alive today, I wouldn't have known. And obviously, I'm not familiar. I know his face if I've seen it, but this whole phenomenon,
it's weird because like people my age, like I'm only 4 years. I'm 36. I'll be 37 very soon, but I know a lot of people who are 36, 37, or 40s, early 40s, whatever, and they always remember all these different things, like the Shazam movie, like Mandela dying in the 80s and in prison, and the John F. K. one, and the China, the Tank Man, where he, some people believe he got ran over, some people believe he stopped the line of tanks in China, things like that. But there's like a cutoff age, because there's people that I know that are a little bit younger, 35 and under, that don't remember Shazam, that don't remember they remember things very differently than we do. So I'm almost wondering if there's something to that, to the age. Maybe it's just, a matter of you was a couple years behind, so you didn't really see these things because you was doing, you was still being a kid. But I don't know. I think there might be something to that. That's debatable, I guess.
Well, the three I've got written down, the three main reasons, kind of evidence to show about the Nelson Mandela death is the George Bush said a speech in 2006, and we'll play that for you guys just now.
Yep. So we'll go ahead and we'll play this video, and then we'll discuss it afterwards.
Brutal rule. I thought an interesting comment was made when somebody said to me, I heard somebody say, where's Mandela? Well, Mandela's dead because Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. He was a brutal tyrant that divided people up and split families, and people are recovering from this. So there's a psychological recovery that is taking place, and it's hard work for him, and I understand it's hard work for him. He said that I'm not going to give him a pass when it comes to the central government's reconciliation efforts.
So I don't know if that video, because he says Mandela's dead, and then he goes on to say,
Saddam Hussein kills all the Mandela.
Right, exactly. So is he talking about, Mandela's dead, or the idea of Nelson Mandela is dead? But he blatantly says Mandela's dead.
So, basically, after watching that video, and you listeners and watchers have just heard it, he says, Mandela's dead because Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. So, being a skeptic in this instance, I'm not fully on board with believing he's basically. I know he says Mandela's dead, but what he's saying is the people that are like Mandela are dead, or the idea of because he's seen as such a nice and heroic person and a good heart, and that movement's gone because Saddam Hussein killed that idea. So I get the skeptic point of view on that one.
It's a big thing that rolled around the internet. Says Bush says Mandela's dead, but I mean he does blatantly say Mandela is dead. Is he saying both? Do you think he's saying Mandela is dead and the idea of Nelson Mandela is dead? And maybe he has the same false memory. I don't know, because he didn't die in 2008.
It can go both ways.
He was definitely alive during the time of this speech.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No,
For him to say Mandela is dead is kind of a bold statement, but I'm skeptical too. It sounds like he's talking about the idea of Mandela is dead and killed by people like Saddam Hussein.
I know he says it. He says it outright. Mandela's dead, but
Right. Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
not.
sound
I'm
doesn't
50
sound right to me.
still on that being proof. It's all adding to like one of the reasons, which we'll get to after we've done all the examples, is where people are maybe having conflicting memories because they have learned, possibly someone's read this book and they've then told someone and they've told someone. It's all like ways of like they've maybe heard misinformation, or someone's basically told a lie, but they don't know they've told the lie, and it's just been categorized as fact. So this could be it, but I'm just being the skeptic in this one.
That's the thing about the Mandela effect. Every time you kind of question it, you think, that's a little far-fetched, like you just said, or that's a little. Then you find another one. Then you find another one and another one and another one, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember that. Like, there's no way. And then everybody else remembers it a different way too. It's like the Darth Vader thing. We'll show another example with the Luke, I am your father.
When I first saw the dialogue that said, Luke, I am your father, I said to myself, he's lying. I wonder how they're gonna play that liar. No, I am your father. Say what?
Darth Vader was voiced by James Earl Jones. He said the line.
For me, I've never watched Star Wars. I'm gonna get so much hate for that, but I've never been into Star Wars. But
well, I've seen it a million times. I'm into Star Wars. I watch Star Wars, and I've seen it. And hearing him, James Earl Jones, the guy who voices it, say, Luke, I am your father. Now the debate is it Luke, I am your father, or no, I am your father?
Yeah.
Because I've always remembered it as Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
Good luck finding an old tape that says Luke and not no, I am your father. But that's another small, tiny instance that makes you kind of say, well, maybe I heard it wrong. But the thing about it is when everything you watch, doesn't matter if that line, that famous line is ever recited, everybody who always says that line says, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
And everything, nothing says no, I am your father, but the actual movie itself, which is strange.
That's what done it for me, and I've never seen the film, like I say. But when I found that video of James Earl Jones talking to an interviewer and him saying, we've played the video, so you saw him saying, when I got my lines, my script, and I read the lines, and he said it, Luke, I am your father. So even the guy that says the line thinks he said, Luke, I am your father. That's the part that got it for me, because we could all forget things and imagine that we thought we heard this and we thought we heard that, but when the guy that plays the part even thinks it himself, that's where it's like.
And it's one of the most infamous lines in movie history. Everybody knows that line, and there's not one person you'll find out there that says, no, I am your father. Everybody says, Luke, I am your father. So for that to be a false memory, it has to be a major false memory that millions of people mishear. Not only millions of people, but the man who read the line himself has misquoted this thing. So that's a big one to me. And then a lot of these are pop culture, but that's a big one. I don't know.
I played that one on my wife. Like a lot of these examples, I tested her out, and she's a big Star Wars fan as well. And she got mad over that one. She was like, "No, Ian, it's Luke. I am your father." I was like, "Don't argue with me." And she's like, "No, let's see."
I didn't make the Mandela effect. I just follow along with it. I don't know. And it's like the other one is the C-3PO with the silver leg, with the one silver leg. I've always remembered him to be solid gold, but I guess he had a silver leg, and that's one that I look at like, well, maybe I missed it. But the Luke, I am your father is a big one. There's another line though, and we was talking about this one before we came on, that you like, which is the Snow White line, right?
Yeah, I love Disney films when I was young, and Seven Dwarfs was one of my favorites. So, but it's not even that. It's more, obviously, the Queen's accent is kind of like an English accent. So it just doesn't sound right. What the Mandela effect with this one is she says, in my mind, she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" But she doesn't. She says, "Magic mirror on the wall." And when I saw that one, because there's like, I typed into Instagram hashtag Mandela effect, and all these ones came up. And when I saw that one, I was like, no way. So I went and watched. I got the clip up on YouTube, and I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like,
Yeah,
no
I know.
way.
That's how these things go, right? You
Yeah.
remember, this is like, even as your favorite childhood memories, you remember, I always remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. If you ask anybody out there on the street to quote the movie,
Yeah.
they're going to say Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. She does
Mhm.
not say Magic Mirror on the Wall, but then when you go back and watch it, it's frustrating. You're like, there's
Yeah.
no way. You
Yeah.
know, and then you start to question your own mind and think, man, well, maybe I just misheard it all these years, and I try to pass that off to be a
Yeah.
false memory. I don't know. That's a good one though.
Mhm.
It doesn't even sound right, like you said. Magic mirror on the what's mirror mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know, and that's another one that a lot of people have quoted over the years.
Yeah. There are honestly tons. If you want to, I should have probably said this from the start, but that Fiona Broom, who started the Mandela Effect, actually started a website, and I've used that a lot throughout my research, and it's very well laid out. She's got categories, and also um, in regards to the Mandela one, the Nelson Mandela one, I probably should have see people have been writing into our website, and I was reading a lot of the comments, and they were more they got to me more than probably the videos that we've just showed you, because some of the guys were commenting saying that myself and my wife both recall Nelson Mandela dying and remember watching his widow giving a speech. And there was even the best one was a guy actually done a report on Mandela's death in the 1980s life. Like I'm saying life, but he done a report for his school saying he loved Nelson Mandela, and he did a report on him, and he dug it up. He went up his attic and found his report that he did write saying that Nelson Mandela died. And obviously, the skeptics and all of us can say, "Oh, the guy's lying," whatever. But I kind of see the good in people, and when people are writing that, taking the time to write big comments and things, I find it so interesting.
It is, and like I said, the one for me and the one that I really dug into was the Shazam movie. And like you said, for somebody to sit there and take the time to really lose and these long comments, and everybody says the same exact thing. I remember going to the video store when I was a kid and getting this movie. I remember the knockoff version, Kazam, with Shaq, and that was like the knockoff, cheap knockoff version, and this was the real version that everybody wanted to see. I remember going to my friend's house and watching this movie with him, being a young man. I remember renting this movie. My mother remembered this movie. My sisters remember this movie. And that's a big one for me. And when I say these lines and I start to go through this stuff, everybody's just like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "No, look at this. This is for real. Like, this is either a huge false memory that everybody is kind of sharing, or something happened throughout time to change something
Hmm.
to where we remember two different things."
Yeah.
I don't know. You could, it's why I mean, I said at the beginning, this is going to be tough to get through, and we can go through a lot of the examples, and we'll show them, like
Hmm.
the Fruit of the Loom. Do you remember the Fruit of the Loom emblem
Yeah.
having a basket behind it? I
Yeah.
definitely 100% remember having the basket behind
Yeah.
it.
Hmm. And it didn't. It never did.
It never had the basket behind
No.
the thing. I don't know what it's called. Is it called? It's not called a basket, but
It does. It looks like I would have said basket, to be fair.
right. But there's never has been, and there never was a basket. And
Yeah.
one that you talked about before the show was Jiffy peanut butter. You don't have that stuff over there in the UK,
No.
but I remember it being Jiffy because my mom loved Jiffy peanut butter, but it didn't change to Jif. And now they're saying it's always been Jif, and that's one of them things that could be a false memory. So let's run through some of these.
Yeah.
The Monopoly Man's molecule.
I would have said he had a monocle.
Monocle. Yeah. I've always remembered him having one.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think the one that goes along with that is, and I know it's unrelated, but it kind of is, but in the film Pet Detective with Jim Carrey, the guy that comes down, he has a monocle, and he's the Monopoly guy. He's dressed up like the Monopoly guy.
That's a good one. I
Yeah.
never thought about that. He is dressed up as doesn't he reference him to the Monopoly
Yeah,
Man?
yeah, because he punches him, doesn't he? And he plays him, and he's like, "Do not pass out. Do not collect $200."
Right. Yes. Yes. And he had the molecule on
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's crazy. I never thought about that one.
Yeah.
I always remember the Monopoly Man with the little eyeglass and everything. So that's a crazy one to me. We did the Fruit of the Loom. When I have the frowning Mona Lisa, I always remember her being kind of frowning and sad looking, but evidently she has a small smirk on her face.
Yeah.
So that's one I didn't really know too much about. We kind of talked about the Berenstain Bears or the
Yeah.
Berenstein Bears. Which one what everyone believes. Which one do you remember?
Well, I don't remember this book, or what was that, a book or a TV show?
It
Because
was it was like a book series that was big over here. It was big in America.
okay, see, that's why I think a lot of these are American based, like the peanut
Right.
butter one. But what I will add on that one is for me, everything's Steen. Like I've never heard of any name with Stain in it. Like it's like we had my football team had a manager called Jock Steen. It's Jeffrey Epstein. There's no Stain. I don't get it. So I've
It's either
never.
Stein or
Yes,
Steen or whatever.
Stein
But
or
there's
Steen.
I've never heard of a Berenstain Bear.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
evidently it is Berenstain and not Berenstein or Berenstein Bear.
yeah.
We talked about the three CPO or C3PO's golden leg or the silver leg.
Mhm.
And then Kazam, not Shazam, but there was both movies. See, this one says Kazam, not Shazam, and that's what I get all the time. Is you're thinking of Kazam, but
Mhm.
most people remember Shazam, and Kazam was the knockoff version of Shazam.
Yeah.
So that's how I always remember it. Do you have a few examples you'd like to share? Or
Yeah, I've got Forrest Gump.
yeah,
Life
that's
was like a box of chocolates, or life is like a box of chocolates. What do you
life is
think?
like a box of chocolates, but it's not it. That's not it.
No,
It was
it's
was.
yeah, that's it. Life was like, but that's it. Yeah. So that one I would have said life is like a box of chocolates.
That's another one of those world famous lines that everybody should remember. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Yep. There's one here that I wouldn't have known either way, but I'll ask you. You maybe haven't heard of it. Chartreuse. What color is chartreuse? Red or green? Yeah.
Chartreuse, the color. That's red.
Uh, it's
Chartreuse?
actually
I remember it as red.
it's yellow green. A lot of people think it's pink. It's like
Yeah,
a
it's like a
magenta
pinkish
color pink.
reddish color, like a
Yeah.
maroonish pinkish type color.
Chartreuse is broadly remembered as a shade of red. Some recall it as a maroonish red. Others
Yeah,
describe it as like a magenta. Well, if I'd had a guess, I'd have said pink. I'm sure I would have thought it was pink, but it's actually green. It's like a lime green.
that's crazy. That's a good
Uh,
one. I didn't know that one.
yeah. The Looney Tunes. How do you spell Looney Tunes? Well, the
I know
tunes.
this one. It's always it's cartoons, so it should be
Yeah,
TOONS.
yeah.
Looney Tunes.
But it's not. It's
Why?
TUNES.
I don't I just
I
don't
know.
understand. That one makes no sense to me. Why would it be
Yeah,
Looney Tunes?
yeah,
TUNES?
yeah. Because
And
that's
we're not
like
talking about
music.
music. We're talking about cartoons.
Yeah,
It should be TOONS. That one makes zero sense to me.
yeah.
That one gets me though. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of spelling mistake ones. There are a lot of oh, there's another one. The Queen song, "We Are the Champions."
Yeah.
At the
He never
very end
says
of
of
the
the world.
song, he never says of the world. So it's like everyone, and I think the video that goes along with this one to back it up is there's a carpool karaoke with James Corden and I think it's
Hmm.
Adele and a few others in the back seat, and they're all singing "We Are the Champions," and the song ends and they all go of the world, but it doesn't happen, so they're all like looking at each other.
Of the world. Does he not do an of the world? I always thought he did an of the world. Doesn't he?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I've
yeah,
seen that video that you're talking about, and it's crazy because everybody remembers that's how he does it of the world, like you in
yeah,
that song that way. Everybody knows it that way, and to watch them in that car,
yeah,
kind of like what the hell, like this is weird. It was just more proof that makes you go, makes you go, what the
yeah,
hell, like something is not right.
yeah.
So let's moving on to we've shown some examples and things like that. Now we're going to try to talk about what we believe this even is, or try to dissect it. And I kind of have a general idea, and I think it pulls back to something happened along the line. And I know that some people, I don't know how you believe about, some people feel like the world actually did end on September 21st or December 21st, 2012. I don't know. Do you believe that that's even a possibility?
I don't have any like throughout this whole show. You'll realize I'm not 100% on anything, but
Right.
I think like the whole deja vu feeling, we talked off air before we came on about things that happen. Like today, I was telling Steve, I woke up with a song in my head, like we all do. I think we all do. I've woke up countless times with the Jungle Book theme song in my head, and I don't know why. It's always that song, and I'll go to work whistling it. But today it was Jolene, Jolene, and I don't even like that song. I've never downloaded it. I haven't heard it recently, but I woke up singing Jolene, Jolene. And then today I went shopping with my wife, grocery shopping, and it came on in the shop, and I just thought I have to tell my wife because this week so many things like that have been happening, and I know there are theories out there that the parallel universes and things intertwining, and the Mandela effect could be this. Like I always joke about that show Rick and Morty. I don't know if you've seen that, Steve, but I watch
Right.
it a lot, and it's like how when you get to a crossroads and you go right, you in another dimension could be going left, and
Yeah.
then it plays out. So is it just where you're meeting in the same place again with your other dimension
You're
being, and
right.
no?
Yeah, it's like I was talking earlier, like path A and path B. If you when you wake up in the morning, you immediately make a decision, right? Am I going to get up and go to work, or am I going to stay in bed? If you get up and go to work, well, then you start to go down that path, and then it splits into different paths as you go throughout it, or whatever, and then it eventually comes back together, and then that's how I believe that's how deja vu happens. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird when you hear a song in your head that you never heard before, and then you go to the grocery store, to the market, and it's playing on the air. I don't believe anything happens for. I think everything happens for a reason. Everything, there's something to it all. Um, it's just very when you start getting into that stuff, it's such a mind. I don't want to. It's such a deep state of mind, like a deep state of understanding. Like, is there alternate beings? And that's what it leads back to. Like when people say the world ended on December 21st, 2012, they're basically saying that reality ended and we are in a new reality.
Mhm.
And maybe there is some truth to that, in a sense of, and I'm going to kind of go into, I don't want to go too much into CERN, but I do believe CERN and Mandela effect, if something was to happen, they have to play hand in hand.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go into this a little bit. I'm going to try to not go too far down the path of CERN, but I'm going to pull up some pictures and things like that. And I'm going to try to go into this a little bit because I believe CERN, basically, for those who don't know, and if you're watching this show on conspiracy, you probably know what CERN is. It's a large hadron collider where they're trying to recreate the God particle. They basically crash protons and neutrons together, matter and antimatter, to try to create, um, you know, particles that are otherwise not harnessable to man. So that's what it is. They're basically playing God. They're trying to recreate the God particle. They're trying to recreate black holes. Some people have said they created black holes and that they have created dimensions and alternate dimensions. And when you talk about alternate dimensions, you talk about time and you talk about space and everything else. And there's no telling what they could have done. But the point of this being is, if something did happen, it had to have been done through CERN because it's the only machine on Earth powerful enough to create or to change or alternate a timeline or um, a perception of life, or whatever, to alternate and change one's reality. It would have to be done here. That's why I go to CERN. Now, I found some interesting things about CERN during doing some research, and I do believe the two things and the Mayan calendar is all tied together somehow. Now, first off, when you look at the Mayan calendar, Ian, have you ever seen the Mayan calendar?
Yeah, I had it. I watched a little short tutorial during my research into the Mandela effect, and it's very confusing. Although the guy says it's very easy, it's really not. It's long. It's like a long number, and whenever this one gets to like 00, this one changes to one. Is that
Mm-hmm.
my right in saying that? Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the circle, the actual tablet itself,
Oh, okay.
the Mayan calendar itself. When you look at it, and I urge you to look it up because it kind of blows your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
When you look at the circle tablet that the Mayan calendar was placed on, the original Mayan calendar, it looks exactly like the Hadron Collider, exactly
Okay.
like the Large Hadron Collider and CERN. So I'm going to pull some pictures up to kind of show you. Was this the Mayans' deception of what would come to be? And then I tried to link together, and there's a lot of conspiracy on this stuff. but its connection, because I do believe that the Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012, CERN, and the Mandela effect all play into the same basket, and that basket is changing reality. Because the Mayan calendar never stated that the world was going to end in December 21st, 2012. They did, it was an ushering in of an end and a new beginning afterwards. So it was the end of this era and the beginning of a new one. So what I believe the Mayans were predicting was the fact that this CERN, something was going to change. So what happened with CERN on December 21st, 2012 is also very interesting. Now, first off, they were on the cover of Science magazine on this date, December 21st, 2012, because on that date, they had the breakthrough of, many people say, breakthrough of a lifetime of human history, when they discovered the Higgs boson particle. They performed the test. Now, they came out on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day, and they said that they were going to open a black hole, and they made this big joke story and this long thing, and everybody's like, ah, ha, ha, they got you. They didn't really do any of that because that was an April Fool's joke. But come to find out, they actually did do some testing, and they fired that bad boy up on December 21st, 2012, and they had a major breakthrough. What was that breakthrough? Well, I'm going to try to put this out as best as I can when talking about this, because this is way out of my element. I am not a physicist or a theoretical physicist or any of those things, and I don't claim to be. But so the experiment in 2012, December 21st, 2012, they fired up the Large Hadron Collider in hopes to create the to figure out the Higgs boson particle. The Higgs field is a field of energy that is thought to exist in every region of the universe, right? It's accompanied by a fundamental particle known as Higgs boson, which is used by the field continuously interact with other particles such as an electron. So basically, the Higgs boson particle attaches itself to all other known particles, giving it mass, giving it its existence. The Higgs field is a field of energy that exists throughout the entire universe. So basically, to put this kind of in layman's terms, or even in Star Wars, I guess is the best way to do it. When they hear you talk about the Force is with you, the Force is with you. The Higgs boson particle is the Force, basically. It is what ties everything together throughout the universe. It's what gives every particle its mass. The Higgs field is surrounding throughout the entire world, and they're trying to create this particle, and they did so on December 21st, 2012, at CERN's facilities. That's what's interesting about all this, because on that day, we discovered what many would call the God particle. We didn't discover it, we created it. Everybody always thought, it was always a theory that it existed. Nobody could figure out how or where or what. But on that day in particular, they created on that day in history the Higgs boson particle in that Hadron Collider, which changed the course of history and the course of science and everything else on that day. So it's very significant. Now, where the conspiracy comes in and what I start to think is, what else did they do on that day? Because we don't really know what they're doing in this CERN facility. They tell you what they're doing. Oh, we're creating this or creating that. What did you discover with this particle in particular? What did you create? What did you see? What happened on this day, December 21st, 2012? Maybe we would ever know. Maybe they opened up a portal. Maybe they changed the time frame. Maybe they did end the world on this day, and now we are living in an alternate dimension. I know that sounds far-fetched, but we're playing with science that we don't understand, that we don't know anything about, and anything could have happened. We have no idea. Mm-hmm. I've tried to make all that make sense because it's very difficult. I don't understand particles.
You deserve a round of applause for that, because that was brilliant. That's why that stuff just, I tried to even say the word. What is it? Hadron Collider. Is it? Right. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the Large Hadron Collider. It's basically where they crash together different particles trying to create or recreate very powerful energy, like dark matter or like the Higgs, the Higgs boson particle.
You did a good job of getting that information across. So thanks for that. Because I sort of saying, I hope Steve looks into CERN, because I'll do all the background on like where it came from.
Well,
And
that's the thing. The thing about CERN is you could do. You have to look into it, because I think that's the biggest.
yeah,
To me, it's the future of our world revolves around this facility, and they're building a larger one, because once they create what they want to create, once they figure out how to change
yeah,
bend time and space and realities, which they might have already done, when you look at Mandela effect,
yeah,
then everything changes.
yeah. Do you know, all the time when you were talking, I was thinking, where was you getting this information from? Because that's mainstream, is it? That's from their own website.
Well, the
It's
thing
not,
about finding this information is you have to do it piece by piece, because there's, you know how whenever you're looking at a conspiracy, it'll always lead you. You'll always hit a brick wall, and they'll say, "Well, this is fake. It's be debunked. You're a fool." So you have to kind of go piece by piece. So what you do, what I do, is I like with this in particular, is I find out what they did on December 21st, 2012. Okay, they created the Higgs boson particle. What is the Higgs boson particle? Well, then you have to figure out what the Higgs field is, and then what the particle is within that field, how it works, how it reacts, and then you have to do it piece by piece, and almost have to research different things to bring it around and come back to the answer, because they'll always mislead you. Like their April 1st article they put out, which is April Fool's Day, saying that they were going to open a black hole on December 21st, 2012, which wasn't the case at all. But they did, in fact, use the Hadron Collider and create a particle in which, in my view, they should not be creating in a lab on our planet, because we don't know what it's capable of.
yeah. I know it's scary. It's scary to think what they're doing. I think that I've even heard of they openly talk about trying to recreate the Big Bang. Like they tell us that, like they're open about the research that they're doing and conducting in their research facility, which I don't know if you said, but I've got the CERN is in Geneva, which is in Switzerland. It's the European Organization for Nuclear Research, established in 1954. They have 23 member states, of which Israel, and that's a little hint back to our Rothschild episode, Israel are the only non-European country given full access. So the other 22 are European based. The logo I wanted to touch on, because I love my numerology, but if you look up I'm sure Steve will insert it here.
Yeah.
Is, to me, that looks like 3 6s. I don't know about you, but
well,
six,
I mean,
six,
if you start looking into CERN and what they, like I said, this CERN is a whole other show, but yeah, it's definitely, their logo is 3 6s, the 666. They have the statue of Shiva, the destroyer, outside of their facility, which is basically destroys one world and recreates the next, right? So she has to destroy the old world so the other god can recreate the next world. So it's almost as if they're trolling us a little bit, saying, and there's many instances of them trolling us, saying, we've done something, you have no idea what we've done, wink wink, but we've changed the entire course of history and your whole entire reality.
So in relation to the Mandela effect, what we're saying here is they basically, on 2012, when they hit that Higgs boson particle, whatever it is, all that sciencey stuff, that they could have split time or created a new dimension where some of this stuff that we've just explained tonight, these examples, are lost or changed, and
they're not, in fact, false memories. They are in there.
Yeah.
The memories are not false. Your reality, you're living in a false reality instead. That's the difference. And that's the mind fuck that goes on.
Yeah, when you asked me earlier what my thoughts are on how this, the one theory that I haven't looked into yet, I've heard little bits on, again, is like, do I believe in the Big Bang? Certainly not. Do I believe that we are created? Yes, I do. But I also really like the simulation theory, that we are basically in a computer game. It's layman terms, we're in a computer game. I really want to look into that. We'll definitely do an episode on that. But it's also making sense with this stuff tonight, that we're basically in a simulation, and it's like timelines. We're on this timeline, whereas we're on that one, and they're
that's how it
with...
all ties together, I think, because a lot of people, and I heard this from a lot of younger people anyways, that the world ended on December 21st, 2012, and we're living in a false reality. And I know that sounds crazy, But then when you start looking into the Mayan calendar, the date December 21st, what they did at their facilities in CERN, and how much the Mayan calendar looks like the inside of the Large Hadron Collider, and you start bringing all this stuff together, and you start looking at it, and it makes you go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
maybe there's something to this.
Mhm.
Maybe the world didn't end. I don't believe the world ended in December 21st, 2012, but I do believe that they've done something that has alternated or has changed forever our realities.
Yeah. Well,
That's
what
what I'm
was
saying.
yeah, what I was going on to say there is basically like I saw the video last year of I think it's that Abramovich lady, the one that's linked with Lady Gaga, where she's now the face of Microsoft, and they put out an ad where you can basically in the near future you're going to be able to, like with VR, where you can basically be in a room with like Bob Ross, like the painter. You could be basically like you're in the room with him and you're painting and you're getting a tutorial, or you could be in the room with Gordon Ramsay and you're cooking alongside him. But it's just like a computer game, and it's all VR. And with Elon Musk talking about uploading memories into a chip and things, that basically the whole simulation theory is that we've already got to that point, whether it's in like 2050 or 20 or the year 3000, and at that point they put us into a computer simulation like the one I've just talked about, like the VR, and they've started us at like, well, we're in 2020 now, so, well, 2021, sorry. So that's
Right.
like they've put us back to that time, and we're in a computer game right now. I think that's what it is. That's just a little 5 minute, what I've heard about the simulation theory, and I will look into it a bit more in depth. But
Well,
yeah,
there's a lot of twists and turns down this rabbit hole that take you, because when you're talking about the reality, right?
yeah,
You're talking about reality itself and what is it and what does it really mean in the grand scale of things, and what can you do to alternate it. Now, what we're talking about in particular, because we don't want to stray too far away from the source content here, Mandela
yeah,
effect, is what has been done to alter our realities and change them in such a way that we're having false memories, or we're remembering things that never happened, or remembering things completely different, or remembering things that did happen and they're telling us it never happened. So I do believe that something happened along the way, that we are living in kind of a different type of reality. I do believe that CERN is up to something, and they have, I do believe they have done things that have changed everything. And like I said, they almost troll us in a way and tell us that, yeah, we have done things in this facility, and you'll
yeah,
never know because it's your reality, it's your perception. Maybe we are all part of a uploaded into a program. When you look at the human body and the human brain, we can't even access our own brain. It's the largest supercomputer on earth is in your skull, and you don't even have access to it. You're allowed to access maybe 2% of it. We don't know how we work. We don't know how our minds work. We have only begun to understand. And so we don't even know really deep down what reality is. This could all be a simulation. This would all be
yeah,
one big, like you said, computer game in layman's terms. And we have, it's like goes back to that old thing. How does we are, look at the ants, right? Look at ants. If you were on an ant farm, you are the god of those ants. Those ants know nothing but you. Are we the ants in the ant farm? I mean, I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know. But I do believe something has been changed and altered along the way. I just don't know. Maybe we are all plugged up into the matrix.
As the guy I've listened to for years now, he always says, I think it's also when he talks about CERN, it's like the nerds will destroy us all one day, because it's basically, when you watch these videos, they're all nerdy kind of guys, and they're basically got the ability to just end us all.
Right, and
So,
maybe they already have. We don't know.
yeah,
They might have changed reality forever. They might have changed our lives. They might have ended us already. We might be just living in some false, mental state. We have no idea. But
yeah,
yeah, the nerds will be the end of us all. The thing about it is, to me, and I know CERN as a topic is a topic for another day. I'm trying to keep this where we're at, but they're playing with science that they don't understand.
yeah,
They're trying to create particles that they don't know about, and even go to the extent of creating black holes. Even there, they say they're miniature black holes. Well, you don't know what could possibly happen. We could completely get sucked into that. You could end the world on one test. And I found it interesting that they did it. They fired it up on December 12th, 2001.
Yeah.
Or December 21st, 2012 is when they fired it up. I found that interesting. And that they discovered that in particular particle. Okay, this is the thing for me. If there was a change and something happened, this is the only place that would be able to do it, because they have, if they have figured it out, which a lot of people believe that they have figured it out, then they would have the ability to jump through time, space, bend reality, change reality. If you understand, like if you are able to recreate the particle that supposedly created the universe, or create particles that intertwine us all together and create portals and create black holes, then you're probably able to create changes in the fabric of time and space. I'm just saying, if anybody was able to change our realities to where we remember things differently, it would be CERN, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the big tie-in.
Yeah. So, are you ready for the big ultimate question?
What's that?
Are you ready for the big question?
Penny for your thoughts?
Yeah.
So I guess so, yeah. I mean, penny for your thoughts, Ian. What do you think? Do you think this is real? Do you think Mandela effect is the real deal?
I was going to say, like, I knew this question was coming, and the whole time I'm thinking, can I stay on the fence with this one? But, you know, for me, see the examples, you know, the mirror on the wall, the Tom Hanks, the Forrest Gump, the Luke, I am your father. A lot of those, I believe, you could have had a false memory. You could have thought you heard it wrong, or, you know, you've seen someone else say it, and the examples don't do it for me. But see, when we talk about the CERN stuff and the dimension stuff and the simulation theory, that's where I'm kind of like starting to pull back, where I believe that it's kind of formidable, if that's the word, that one day we are able to do these things. And it scares me. Like a few years ago, I probably couldn't have spoke about that stuff because it would get me freaked out, because my whole phobia in life was like dying. But when I've researched all this stuff, and I feel like I've got more of a, you know, we are bigger than we believe we are. They've got us thinking that we're meaningless, that we're just little ants, that we're just here for 1 minute and gone the next, and that our opinion, and how they say we have the illusion of choice and things. But for me, it's common sense with the whole VR and the way that the world's going. So I'm going to say, if you want a percentage, I'll go 75%. I believe in the Mandela effect. I believe something's happened.
75% though. That's much stronger. That's stronger than me. 75%. That's a strong opinion. Yeah, that's stronger.
I was battling. I was going 60. Well, I'll go 60, but I really do believe in the dimension stuff. I believe in the simulation theory. I'm not 100% on those, but I do think that they make way more sense than like the Big Bang theory and that we're just an accident by an explosion. I do not think that at all. So I have to go more than like 3/4 for me is just, I have to go with that. Yeah.
It's tough. It's such a tough one, because there's things that you remember very distinctly, and it's tough for me too to sit here and say, but yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to go on a fence either with this. I guess penny for my thought. God, this is such a tough one.
It is.
I do believe, like you believe, that there is something more to life than what we really understand. And I do believe that CERN definitely has access to information that they shouldn't have access to. I don't think we were not put on this earth to live a life to where we start understanding creations of entire universes and particles that can change, you know, your reality or your perception of reality or whatever the case may be, or time and space. And we just shouldn't be able to harness this much power. And it's very scary. But it all comes back to me to that Shazam movie, because I distinctly remember it. I remember it at Blockbuster, the video rental store. I remember seeing it multiple times and watching it. It was one of my favorite childhood movies. It was a lot of kids' favorite movies. And I know people out there have seen Shazam, because I always ask that question. You remember Shazam? Yeah, the Sinbad Genie movie. They always say the same thing. Yeah, I remember. So I do believe something happened. Now, I do believe a large portion of the Mandela effect has been watered down, like every conspiracy, because they muddy up the water so you can't figure out what's truth and what's fiction. They do that purposely so you can't really tell the distinction and you just give up on it altogether. I'm going to say I'm like 30-70. I don't really believe the Mandela effect is that real. I do believe something happened. It's just all the examples of it. It's just so much, this could be false memory. This could be false memory. And I hate to be on the fence about it. I'm just not completely sold about something that I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to convince myself that it's not real, but I'm just not sold that all these different things are, because it's all pop culture references. It's all like movies. It's all lines. It's all, logos. It's all things that we just remember differently. Now there's a whole ass movie that's missing in my memory bank. So something definitely happened. I just don't know if the Mandela effect is, I don't know. See, it's so, I don't know, Ian. I don't have an answer. I don't, because it's so iffy. It's so up, and I just don't.
Okay.
God, I don't know how to feel it. Should I say 50-50? God, I hate being like that. I'm 50-50 on it. Fuck, is it happening or is it not? I have no idea.
I get you. The Mandela effect itself, the examples that we've used tonight, and even more so the people's comments that were saying that they wrote school articles on Mandela dying in the 80s, and for me, they make me believe it more than Luke Earl Jones saying that, like he could have just forgotten it,
but maybe our realities were meshed together from some other alternate reality, and then the ones that were in our old reality are somewhere else in a new reality, you know what I mean? And we're just kind of meshing together. We all just remember things happening very differently. I don't know. It scares me because I don't know what I don't remember that's changed.
Yeah, I think this one could be revisited once we look into like simulation theory, once we look into the paranormal. I think you could end up probably in an episode further down the line, we could say this could tie into the Mandela effect. I think
there's something here, right? There's something here. We just don't
is.
know what it is because it's too deep to kind of dive. I don't know if we can dive that deep because you can just go and go and go, and it's a never-ending hole. I mean, you could just, because there's so much different. There's so much information when you talk about this.
Yeah.
It's tough. When you start talking about different dimensions and realities and life and time and space, it's so so out there. But I believe there is really, they do have the abilities. They've figured things out over the years. I believe that.
Mm-hmm. So you're 50-50.
I'm 50-50. I don't know. It's just that movie. If it wasn't for that movie that I remember in particular, that I watched 100 times, Shazam, if it wasn't for that movie, I would say I don't really buy into this. If it wasn't for that. But that movie, it always comes back to that for me because I remember it. I remember moments. I remember hanging out at my friend's house watching it. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's us for tonight then.
That's it. It's a tough one. I'm telling you, it's a tough show to do, but we did a good job on it.
By the way, you only get one 50-50. I'll let you off once.
That's a tough one.
I know. Yeah.
150-50. I done used my chance. I wish I'd have known that. I would have went 70-40 like you. Or 60-40. No, good show, man. Thank you. I want to thank all you guys out there for joining us, and make sure that you keep watching us every week, and hopefully you guys can download and subscribe and kind of check us out on a weekly basis as we kind of gain some momentum. We would love to reach out and have some guests on. I think that would be really good to have some guests on this show and some people who are into some of this stuff to kind of get us rolling. And if you want to be on, if you have something that you feel very passionate about or something like that, reach out to us. Check us out on. You can message us through YouTube and through Facebook and everything else. Just search Penny for your thoughts, and I'll put the links up as I'm talking right here. Everything will be put up, and you guys can check us out. Definitely reach out to us. We would love to have some interviews and see what you guys have to say.
Yep, spot on.
You got anything, Ian?
No, that's pretty much it. Just we are on Facebook now. Did you say you've got a page set up for that? I'm running the Instagram page, Penny for Your Thoughts. So you can message us on there. We're on YouTube and BitChute. I think we're on BitChute as well now, the video version. And also Steve extracted the audio If you can only listen to us, maybe driving or at your work, like I do, we're on Spotify, we're on Anchor, and we're on a few others that Anchor. They publish it to other platforms. There's a ton of them. A lot of them I don't know of, but you can find us pretty much anywhere. So hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. It's been wild, and yeah, join us next Sunday night for the next episode.
And we'll put all of our links up and everything so you guys can. I'll put them all in the description box and things like that, and I'll put them up on the screen so you guys can find us and kind of watch along. And we would love to hear from you. And yeah, just follow the show. Just continue to follow us as we continue to grow. And I don't know what's next, but I'm excited. Hopefully it's not 50-50. Hopefully it's not Nelson Mandela or the Mandela effect.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, Steve.
See you, man. Have a great evening.
You too.